had a big day yesterday, actually indoors mainly. I did go out and get some grog from Murphy's in the afternoon, and that was interesting itself in that I ran out of money. Didn't have enough change anyway for the return journey. It's only $1.20. It's really cheap, but I only had $1.10 in change. I was meaning to change that Murphy's and forgot to do it. Anyway, so I give the change to the bus driver, and I say, look, I've got a $10 note, I can give you $10.20 and you give me change. He just wasn't interested. He said, no, don't worry about it. Is it close to, how much is there? And I said, $1.10. And he said, close enough. He didn't care. I don't think that had ever happened in Melbourne, so that's a very Queensland thing. So he was fine me actually underpaying him. It's just easier for him. It's just, so I can understand why he did it. Obviously the company doesn't give a rat's, so he's not going to get into trouble, presumably. So that was interesting. Yeah, I was behind the computer screen all yesterday on one task, and that is planning my next trip. And hopefully I'll be up to going on it, but I'm going to take the risk of. So I actually booked an apartment in Seville in Spain in September. So that was a big move, and it wasn't super cheap either. It was one of the more expensive places, almost twice as much per night that I'd paid at the hotel that I was staying at in Saigon. Mind you, this is right in the centre of Seville, this apartment, and it is a full apartment, 60 square metres, so it's much bigger. So on a per metre basis, it's probably actually line ball between that and the one in Saigon, maybe even cheaper. So it's not bad value really, and it looks really nice in the photos, but you never know with photos. But the reviews have been pretty okay, and I went with booking.com rather than with Airbnb. I've got my doubts about Airbnb. I don't trust the reviews on Airbnb, so it's a big commitment to go somewhere that far away, especially if it's a long booking. The other major issue with Airbnb is a lot of hosts will pull out the last minute and leave you high and dry. You'd be stiff if it happened to you, but it does happen, and it actually did happen to me once about a week before I was due to go to a place, so I had to scramble and find alternative options at the last minute, which wasn't much fun. So it can happen and does happen, whereas with booking.com you're dealing with professionals. It was a professional letting company that's got this particular apartment, and I feel a lot safer knowing that, to be quite frank with you. So that was good. But yeah, so I made a big commitment. I think they're going to bill me for 30% initially, which is unusual, because in say the one in Saigon, the great deal with booking.com is there's no money up front. That's another thing with Airbnb. You have to pay the money months in advance, which is a pain. But with booking.com it's not like that. And with the Asian bookings, like the Saigon one, I only pay when I actually check out. So it's brilliant. I've got the cash on hand prior to that, so that's really good. But in this case, I think it's more of a European thing. You have to pay 30% up front, which is less than some places I saw online, which some of them would, you weren't getting any leeway at all, and others were say 50% up front, and then the rest say 42 days prior to the booking. If you pull out before that, you get the refund. But so I can still pull out of it, but it has to be 42 days or longer. So, but every place has its own rules as far as that's concerned. The major thing for me is, the major nightmare for me would be if the host decided not to just pull out altogether and leave you high and dry. Now I think they pay a penalty for that, but people still do it. So the hosts are not reliable, they're not professionals, and that's one of the great downfalls of the Airbnb system. Plus the fact that the reviews are not accurate, in my opinion. So I just felt a lot better. And the prices actually weren't that much different. I compared the ones in Seville between Airbnb and booking.com, and I think Booking.com's become a lot more competitive. It might be a little more, but it's not much, and considering it's got the peace of mind element, I'm prepared to do that, and the fact that you don't have to pay the whole thing right up front. But I do remember when I did stay last time in Seville with some other guys, we did have to pay ahead of time in installments, the same sort of thing. So just the way it is. But yeah, it's a bit of a commitment. But look, I think I'd like to stay in a nice place, and I know it's in a great location because I've been there many times to Seville, and it's walkable virtually everywhere you want to go. So it's really good. And September starts to cool down a little bit. Chances are it could be stinking hot in August. July and August are very hot, July especially. But September's much safer, and then the temperature starts cooling down as the year goes by. But I'm talking about September and just the beginning of October. It should be pretty well perfect time to be there. So yeah, really looking forward to it. It's got me energized again to actually start brushing up on my Spanish. I learned a little bit with the Michelle Thomas online audio Spanish lessons, and I learnt a bit of the language that way, and I found his system to work the best for me. I did get to a point where I couldn't understand the grammar though. That's where I found it didn't work for me at a certain point, but for the first few lessons it's a really good practical way to learn some basic conversational Spanish that will help you out a bit. You know, he tries to make it really easy for you to get your confidence up, I guess. And he has his distractors, his method. I mean, it gets pretty bitchy in the academic arena with teachers and what have you. They all have their own methods, but I found it worked best for me, so that's all I can go on. And we're all wired differently, and I think apparently it works well with celebs, which doesn't sort of make me feel that great, because I don't think much of celebs these days. But apparently he's very popular with celebs. It's like the Scientology of language courses, which again, this does not just fill me with great enthusiasm. It's quite overcast, really squally last night. It made a lot of noise on the roof. It's great being on top floor, but when it's stormy you hear everything. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's probably could well be that cyclone up north. It's having some effect on the weather here. And oh yeah, one of my the leisure shares company, Experience, which is based in North Queensland, took a big hit on the stock market today. So yeah, this weather's causing havoc in certain sectors, and unfortunately I'm exposed to it with my portfolio. But you know, once you own shares for a while, you get used to the ups and downs. It's just the way it is. My Village Roadshow shares have recovered a bit, and they're in profit now, so that's nice, because they were sick for a year or two. So yeah, it just swings and roundabouts. You just got to hang in there. You don't want to be forced into a sale. And now that long term wise, Telstra seems to be on a slow recovery, which is really good news for me, because I've got a lot of those shares. So yeah, but it wasn't a very good day for my stocks today. But you know, again, once you've owned stocks for a while, you don't lose sleep over that. It's just part of the course. Got to look at long-term trends, really. So the other big thing I did was actually book my airline tickets. I had to pay a little more today compared to yesterday, and I think British Airways have got these specials on. I didn't book the whole route. I only booked from Singapore to Madrid via Heathrow, and those fares were just slightly over, that return fare was slightly over $1,000 Australian, which is pretty damn good, I reckon. And that was a sale fare, so I thought I'd better grab it today. And I did actually get a slightly better time on the flights that I had on the previous flights I looked at the previous day. So even though it cost me, it's about $70 more, I think, which is only marginal, it was more convenient anyway. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I've never flown British Airways either, and also I'm going with the Spanish carrier on the way back to Heathrow at the end of the journey, so that'll be interesting as well. Try some different airlines. So yeah, I bought them again today as well, so yeah, I'm pretty well committed to it now. Just hope I don't have health issues or what have you that might cause me not to be able to make that journey. Well, we'll see. Fingers crossed. You've got to be optimistic. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.